What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above all. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show.
Hello everybody. I am Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, the host of the Tina Ramsey Show and podcast, and I want to personally invite you to be a featured guest on our show. Our show is all about motivating you, sharing knowledge, having uplifting conversations centered around business, wellness, education, and life. We introduce you to some of the most amazing standout entrepreneurs and influencers that are truly making a positive impact in the world. It is your time to shine, and we are helping you do that. So what I want you to do is just click the link in the description below so that you can be a featured guest on our show. Because guess what? It's time for you to come share, shine, and grow, but on the Tina Ramsey Show. Next on the Tina Ramsey Show and podcast, we have our special featured guest, Camilla Walls. She is a licensed independent long-term care administrator here in South Carolina and an author. Make sure to tune in this Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. EST. It's time for you to come share, shine, and grow on the Tina Ramsey Show. We want to give a shout out to our CTR Media Network sponsor, Terry Coleman from GlobalKeyCapital.com. Global Key Capital is a lender specialized in customized financing solutions. They pride themselves in being one of the industry's most reliable and proven lending groups. At Global Key Capital, their customers are their number one priority, and they strive to provide all of their clients with competitive pricing, unbeatable customer service, and stress-free processing. If you are looking for your next dream home or investment property, give Terry Coleman a call at 866-325-6267. Again, that number is 866-325-6267. GlobalKeyCapital.com. CTR Media Network is a new standard of podcasting and media that live streams 30-plus podcasters. We reach 350 million global listeners worldwide in over 50 countries across all major podcasting and social media platforms and have featured over 1,000 guests. If you would like to be a part of CTR Media Network, go to ctrmedianetwork.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tina Ramsey Show and podcast. I am so excited to have today's guest backstage, Miss Camilla Walls, because let me tell you, she is talking about a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and also the ones that falls into the special needs, but I prefer the term learning differences category because I feel personally that they simply just learn differently. And she has so much experience. She is like a licensed independent long-term care administrator here in the state of South Carolina. She is also a direct support caregiver with over 30 years of experience in the human services arena. the last 20 years mainly focused on intellectually deficient, if I should say it correctly. What I really love is how she was able to take a situation and just mold it into a caterpillar, and then it birthed into a butterfly. So with that being said, let me just bring her on to the stage. Hello, Camilla. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Dr. Ramsey. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I am just, when I think about what you do, I always say it takes a special kind of person to do what you do, a certain amount of care and nurture that God put in the heart of certain people to
Yeah.
be able to do this kind of work. And so when I think about your book, because we're going to just jump right into this, because when you think about your book, and I'm going to pop the title up on the screen, you said, "Don't call him retarded. I care for him over 20 years." Now, when I first saw that title, I was like, whoa, that title just like drew me in. And I was wondering what made you decide to not only write a book, but also make it that title.
Well, I decided to make it that title for one, because I knew it would draw people's attention to it. And in combination with that, I'm talking about my personal experience with the individuals I work with. Just over the years, you stated it at the beginning of the conversation, he just learns differently. He is very smart, and it takes time. He uses, in my opinion, some of his limitations as a mechanism of defense. But once he starts to trust you, you start to see exactly how smart he is. And so all of that, contributed to the title. Don't call him retarded. He's not retarded. I care for him. So I know. So it's filled with memories of him and I within my household. And in conjunction with that, because of things I've experienced over the years, meaning people would approach me, doctors would ask me, is he related to you? Certain things. And once they find out that he's not, it goes from that to something else. And people show interest and they want to know how they can get involved. And so I know that I'm very aware that the system is indeed overwhelmingly, if I'm saying it right, overwhelmingly in need of the help. So I was going through life writing numbers on the back of cards, ripping off pieces of paper, just depending on where I'm at while they're talking to me. It could be anywhere: shopping center, bank, the park, like I said, the doctor's office. And so I thought about it. It's kind of hard to do that. I don't know whether they're going to keep that piece of paper when they walk away from me, or they're going to be looking for it. So I said, okay, I'm going to put it in writing. So the book itself is a combination of, yes, memoirs of me and my experience in working with the intellectually disabled, but it's more than that. It strikes to the business side. So if you're an individual that's trying to look at how to get into this to help, you can get that from this read. You can.
That's powerful that you pretty much created a blueprint for those who actually, I could see it having a twofold for parents or family members or ones that that has a child or adult that is intellectually, which they would say disabled. I like to just say think differently. And then also, if you are an individual who would like to go into this field of work and to be able to help these children and young adults or grown adults, that we will have a blueprint per se with your book, because you're right. When you go into these different facilities, being a mother of a child with special needs, I really don't like that term. I prefer the term learning differences, but of course, terminology, when you're in certain rooms, you have to say it the way that is classified in order to get the help that you need for your children or adults, if you fall into that category. With that being said, I know how difficult it is, and the numbers that you find, and you forget little bits and pieces. So the fact that you took the time to put it in a book, because we're less likely to lose a book, but we will lose a piece of paper.
Yeah. I want to add something to the previous statement. Now, although the book is focused on, I'm going to state it again, it's someone reads like a memoir. It is, but it also has the business side of it merged in there to give an individual, like I stated earlier, some knowledge as to how to get started or which way to look, depending on where you're at and what's the state. But it's in there to benefit those that feel that there's a calling for them in this arena. At the same time, outside of that audience, it also helps for it can assist you in realization of the business world itself. Because in this book, I speak of whatever you do it in an ethical manner. Try to, have a character and morals concerning your service to God or the children. So that can help you if you give it some thought in any sector of business when you're serving people. You have to be intentional. So even if you have a restaurant, when you do business with these people that come in, if you want longevity, if you do business right, that will sustain you, because it's going to get out that this individual has good character. I like dealing with them, and that's going to sustain you in itself. So it's focusing on, people with different ways of learning, as well as how to get into that branch if you're interested, as well as at least food for thought in just living everyday life.
I love that. How that is a unique way to do a memoir, because usually it's just, reiterating what happened in your life from your perspective, but also you pull the business side to it so it can help in more than one way. I really love the way that you decide to do that. So what we're going to do right now is take a commercial break from our sponsors, and we will be back in a moment with the amazing Camilla Wall. See you in a moment. Welcome to the Homeschooling Magazine, a magazine that embraces and celebrates the entire homeschooling experience. Our magazine is different from all the rest because we provide beneficial information and assistance in homeschooling, business, wellness, mental health, resources, and life. We encourage you to pick up a copy of our magazine today by going to issues.com for digital and printed form on amazon.com. The Homeschooling Magazine is all about impacting the world through home-based learning, helping to de-stress the homeschooling experience. Get your copy today.
Yo, right now I want to give a huge shout out to Tina Ramsey and the Tina Ramsey Show. I was a guest on her show about 3 months ago, and the response was outstanding. And she continued to support my brand, continued to support everything that I do as an actor, as a singer, and as an author. My book sales have skyrocketed since I did her show, so I just wanted to give a shout out and a huge thank you to Tina Ramsey. And remember to hit Amazon and type in "this week" and get the book by Mac Wells that will inspire you, that will encourage you to have the best weeks of your life. Tina Ramsey, you're the truth.
And just like that, we're back, and I come along with a friend. Her name is Camilla Wall. And before the commercial break, we was actually discussing the cognitive limitations and just speaking around why you decided to write this memoir, why you decided to make the title as such, and the question. So I heard you say this book was also created because people had a lot of questions because you were taking care of an individual who is not your child, who is not your family member. And so they was very curious about your why. So let's talk about a little bit about that.
About my why?
Yes.
Okay. Well, to be honest with you, since it started so long ago, since it's been going on so long, in the beginning, my why was because I was home and I had two young children and I had the availability.
Mhm.
So, as in the beginning, it was a request for like 7 days or something like that. And it went on from there. Now, I never thought about, well, maybe it was not very smart of me. I never thought about it. How long is this going to go on? It
Mhm.
just did. Time just kept moving. So it was basically because I felt like, okay, I can do this. I have the time to do it. He needs a home. Um, and so that's pretty much, to be honest with you, when I look back now, I know that the God factor was involved. But I'm going to tell you, originally, that was not my thought. It was
Mhm.
just, okay, I'm going to do this because they, said he's a good guy and I'm going to give it a try. However, as I look back, I know now that it had to be God. It had to.
Mhm. Mhm. I would say that as well for the simple fact that the longevity of it all. Now we're speaking uh not 1 year, 5 years, 7 years. We're talking 20 years of you providing the nurture, the care, your family and yourself,
Mhm,
and actually opening your home
mhm,
to an individual with challenges, but you decided to look differently at the challenge. And you say, hold up, this person is very, very intelligent. You just have to figure out the way of communication. So, what made you start digging deeper? Because here you are, I know personally from having experience,
mhm,
get this paper and you say, can you take this child or these children, right?
mhm,
And you can read the write-up. And so when you get the child or children or young adult,
mhm.
you're like, okay, what I'm gonna do now, you get how many days and then it lasts longer. What made you decide to look past the paper and start seeing this person as an individual and start learning different things to help them grow? Because I'm sure that as
Mhm.
you was going out and about and around, people noticed that this person was different. So what made that come about?
Okay, I can give you a very specific situation
Mhm.
that occurred because originally, I think I said somewhere during our conversation that I believed, and I do believe now, that he still uses some of his cognitive limitations as a mechanism of defense. And
Mhm.
once he begins to realize he can trust you, then those come down. So in the beginning, there were some things. I'm not going to go through every little detail, but I had a very small child at the time that wasn't even walking when me and my husband decided to step into this water. And well, when my son started to try and walk, it was just one episode. I saw him one day, my son,
Mhm.
fall. He fell in the hallway. And I saw the individual that I work with bend over and pick him up, put him back on his feet, and walk around him. Because when my son fell, he fell in front of him. Now the individual that I work with is legally blind. And I felt as though when I saw you, if you had been looking, and my mouth was probably open. If he had a seen me standing there, I don't think he would have done that.
Uh-huh.
It was only because he didn't know that I was standing there in the location that I was in. And
Mhm.
when my son fell, he picked him up, put him back on his feet, and he walked around him and went on wherever he was going at the time. So that's when my light bulb came on. At the time, I was like, okay, it's more to him than I recognize. We're going to see
Mhm.
how this works. And so we went forward. I still never considered all the time that has gone on. And I do know now, I recognize now, but not at the time. I wasn't going, okay, this is year, I wasn't doing that. But now I'm looking back and say it had to be the father. It had to be.
Mhm.
And so a
Yes.
lot of that is in the read as well.
Mm, just seeing those small little moments of non-communication. You know, I remember my son, he has autism, and he did not start talking until he was like 3.5, 4 years old. Okay. Mute until then. And I remember the first time he said something, it was like, whoa, you know. And so and then just watch it, even though my son was nonverbal for the most, you know, during his toddler stage, he still communicated with us in different ways through eye gestures. We taught him some sign language so he can tell us it when he was ready to eat, when he wanted to go potty. And the way that he showed care. Like he have an older sister, but the way that he would bring her something, or vice versa, if he sees someone smaller than him and they cry, he would rub their arm and hand them something. It was just those silent communications that was more profound than anything that he could have said, because this is a child that didn't supposed to understand.
Right.
Okay. Right. And so when you just said what he did and that he was blind and that he picked your son up, but he didn't know that you was there, you saw the inner person.
Right.
And so that it's something about seeing a person in their most vulnerable moment when they don't know that you're watching, to show the character of the person.
Right.
And so you saw that this person was different. Like, oh, okay, so all these other little things they're doing in order to cope, this is the true person. Right. So I need to get to see this person more than the coping mechanism person. So what were some things that you decided that you was going to do from that moment when you saw that light bulb went off per se, and went off? You like, okay, this is the true person right here.
Well, you know what? It was really just live life. We just went on. If something needed to be addressed, then we had to find a way to work with it. You know, I don't want to go into different things, you know, certain things, but it was nothing that could not be. He has very good understanding. You just said it. He talks, he communicates, which I get that question still to this day. How do y'all communicate? We do. He communicates. He can let you know when he's not pleased, when he is pleased, when he's happy, you know. People just don't seem to, unless they're in it. He communicates in his, you know, you can look at him. He communicates. You'll know. He has this way of patting his feet and laughing out loud, you know. So I know he's doing just, you know, well. If he's a little quiet, then I'm like, okay, what's going on? Because he's quiet. And then I'll find out that, you know, something's going on. Somebody took a shirt or whatever the case is. But other than that, we communicate very well. But in the beginning now, it took time. It just took time.
And that's with anything, it takes time. I tell people, even if you don't have a child or an adult with that falls into the learning differences category, it's so many other ways of communication other than verbal words. And if you just remain silent for a while and watch humans, watch us, watch the way we communicate with that nonverbal communication, it speaks more volumes than sometimes what you say out of your mouth. Right. And being that we were thrust in a situation where we had to learn to use that skill, because the average person don't have to learn how to use that skill. Okay. We can see and we experience different things because we see it. We're in it. We understand it. And I clearly understand what you're saying with that nonverbal speech and the tapping and the different little mechanisms that one would do. And you're like, oh, something going on. Oh, you know, and you can you maneuver yourself. So it's so many ways. He's communicating. He's just doing it his way.
Right.
So when you think about your book, and we talked a little bit about your target audience, but we can just talk about it a little bit more about the type. Your memoir, your book is actually geared towards helping individuals learn about ones who have learning differences and helping ones who may want to go in the field. But is it anything else that your target audience, what you say people will be looking for this book?
The target audience is just a wide genre. And the reason I say that is because I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier. I speak to certain practices that are beneficial to use in life in general. Yes, the book is geared toward some some personal experiences in regards to dealing with people that learn differently. However, at the same time, within that, there is a service mechanism that I speak of. And that service mechanism is something we need to use generally, just daily, serving each other as me serving another one of God's children, just on a daily basis. And so it is a wide range. I did, you know, say, well, this will help individuals that are interested or think they have a calling to do this type of servicing. And I did speak of some of the memories of personal experiences that I have had in working with individuals that learn differently. At the same time, it's a little book, it's a small book, 74 pages. But if you read it, I guarantee you there is some fruit in there for every individual that comes in contact with this particular read, because I speak of the different ways that one should deal with another individual that we call God's other children. It's just certain things we should do, and I speak of it from a sense of in part common sense, and then the other factor is the unspoken factor, the one that sits high and looks low. He sees that, and when we intentionally put an effort into doing the right thing, whether we end up doing what is right or not, we trying. We thought it was right because we all are different, just like our fingerprints. What I think is right, you might be like, no, no. So, but the fact that he sees, that the Father sees it, then he's going to reward you for even putting that much effort into doing what you thought was the right thing. So I speak of it from different arenas, and I believe that this small book, for anyone that picks it up and actually reads and considers what's being said, it will benefit them. It will benefit.
I'm seeing like so many different ways in which this book can be beneficial, even if you don't want to go in this particular arena of work or this part of the industry. I could see how on a social scale, helping us and I love sociology. I love sociology, understand the way the world works and people in the world. I love things dealing with human beings, the makeup of us. So understanding this book, I could see how it even falls into sociology, helping you learn society, because this is a whole group of people. He's not the only one. This is a whole group of people that as a whole, we need to be more cognizant of what's going on. We need to be educated. We need to be resourceful, and we need to learn to use words that don't hurt this population.
Yes.
And so with all that being said, some of us, we just don't know what we just don't know. And I feel that your book will be that read that will help us be intellectually aware of what's going on, and how, if we meet an individual like this or individuals, how we can be of assistance, number one, and number two, be understanding, and number three, communicate the way that they communicate. Everybody wants to be treated
right,
a human being, treated with respect.
Right.
And so I feel that your book is teaching us how to respect and be ethical and be able to say, hey, they just learn different. And this is how we were able to do XYZ. So I think it's really, really amazing on what you're doing, and that you took the time to write it down. And with all your experience with, I know in society, they say the mentally fragile in society. And sometimes they say intellectually challenged. Whatever the case may be, it's so many different ones that falls in that category or that spectrum. And I feel that it would be a very, very good read for anybody, because I feel like we all could pull gems from this read, at least just being self-aware, you know?
Right.
So where can we get this book so that we can be self-aware? And thank you for it.
Well, you can purchase the book at Barnes and Noble, Amazon, of course, Books A Million, anywhere pretty much where books are sold, you can get it.
Okay, you guys, as you can see, it says, don't call him retarded. I cared for him over 20 years. On the photo, just in case you guys are listening in, which I know you are, you can get it from Amazon. But also, the best thing that I would say is just simply type the title inside your search and see where it pops up at, and you decide where you want to purchase, whether it's Barnes and Noble, whether it's Amazon, wherever it is. This is a good read for you to have, and also to enlighten you on another social group, because all of us part of different social groups in society, because society have a way of categorizing us and putting us in these boxes. Putting all of us in this box just because we don't do something the same way. But anyway, I digress, because I have to feel some type of way about some kind of things. I'm like, people in all these little boxes.
I understand wholeheartedly.
We have these issues now because you put people in boxes and people want to be free. They just free thinking. They learn differently. This is the way that we do this, but we still gonna get to the finish line. We just do it a little differently, but we get to the same place. Okay, so that's gonna be a whole nother topic. So I really appreciate, like I said, you taking the time and also being so transparent about sharing your story and your journey. Another thing that I don't even know that they really realize, I've mentioned it before, but I'm gonna mention it again, that sometimes it's a normal thing for most women. If you have a child like myself that falls into that category of whatever they define as normal, quote unquote, to go over and beyond to be able to help your child or your children to find resources, to go here and there, to find doctors and resources for your children. But it's a whole different situation when you find someone like yourself who is not blood related, who is not your biological child, or is not your biological relative, and then you decide to take the calling in order to help this individual. Now, I know you said in the beginning, you didn't even think of it like that. It's just something that kind of just happened over time. But the fact of the matter is, you said yes in the beginning, and you could have said no.
And you know what, Dr. Ramsey, I want to add one more thing. At this point, I see it. But just so whoever's listening know, you are blessed for doing it. I am very blessed for doing it. And I could go somewhere and I know what is going on with me, and why this is happening is because the Father knows things that no one else will know, And I felt like, yes, I need to put it in writing. Therefore, when I leave this earth, take my wings, that book will still be here to help somebody.
You built that legacy, something that's I tell people, podcasting, books, all of those things actually outlive you. If you want to leave a permanent imprint in this world and you want to share positivity that's going to surpass your lifespan, your current generation, and beyond, put it in a book, put it on a podcast, because those things are going to be out forever. And someone, or maybe a group, or who knows, going to need your help, and they're going to stumble upon your book, your podcast, your interview, or news blast, or whatever the case may be. And it could be the breakthrough that they're looking for. So these things are not taken lightly. All these things are strategically placed for us to be able to do what we need to do, because your story is not for you. It's for the person that you're here to help, or the people that you're here to help. So thank you for what you're doing, and for being a long-term care administrator here in the state of South Carolina. We need some more. in the state of South Carolina.
Hopefully we can get some more to throw their hats in the ring.
I hope so. Listen, people, if you have the desire, but you was like, I don't know, but this your answer today. That go ahead and do it if you've been having it in your mind, nudging you. And the fact that you've been doing this for 30 years of experience in this arena, helping and nurturing not only the clients that you have been able to help over the years, I should say the decades, but also I feel that you learned a lot about yourself doing this journey too.
Yeah, I did. I'm still learning.
Yes, I agree. It's something about working with children that falls, or adults that falls in the I would say it to be grammatically correct, special needs, because that's what they say in public school. But of course, I prefer the term learning differences. But it's something about it, working with those children, working with those adults, that makes you see life through different lenses and a different perspective. It humbles you. And that's why my field of expertise in education is special needs education. All right. Working with parents and children with special needs. Even when I worked in the public school system, that's what I did. Okay. And so I come with a different perspective. I had no idea when I got out of high school and I was doing all this stuff and went a little bit for college and did all my little stuff that I did. Had no idea that years later I was going to get married, and years after that I was going to have a child, and one of my children was going to fall into the special needs. And I was already prepared because I had all these years of experience working with children that falls in different categories and spectrums from mild to severe. And so when my child came along, I was already equipped. Had no idea. And I said, God is good.
Yes, that's right. There's nobody like him.
So I was like, wow. And so now I'm able to use those skills in order to help other parents. And like, that's why I connect with you so much, is because we don't do the same thing, but we're in the same arena. And we need all of us in our prospective positions in order to get the whole message across. So thank you for taking the time, and thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for putting in the book. I'm gonna purchase that book, and when I purchase, I'm gonna take a picture with it and send it to you. Because I want to read it myself. I just couldn't get it quick enough before we did the show. So thank you for everything that you're doing. So how can one stay in contact or get in contact with you? They can go purchase your book, or do you have any other place like social media that you want them to follow you on?
No, I don't really. I'm on Facebook, but I'm not really, what is it, tech savvy? I look at
Well, I appreciate you. Anyway, you guys,
up on Facebook.
Okay, you can check her out on Facebook, and you can also go to Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or wherever they sell books, and type in Camilla Walls. That's CameliaWall up under the title. Don't call him retarded. I cared for him over 20 years. It's going to be a great read for you, and it's going to be something that even if you don't have experience, I feel that it will give you the human side of it, so that you can see for someone else's perspective. And so the next time, you just never know, you may meet someone that falls into that category, and then you'll be better able to communicate and use words that heal and not hurt. Yes. So on that note, thank you so much for coming today, from being a featured guest on the show. On that note, that's the end of the show, you guys. You can click the link in the description to be able to purchase her book. We're going to make it very easy for you to buy. We're going to put the link right up in the description. And we thank you for everything that you're doing. And let us know that whatever else that you have on the plate, keep the Tina Ramsey Show and Podcast in the know, so we can let people know all about what you're doing, because we love what you're doing. Thank you. All righty then. You are most welcome. Stay backstage. I'll talk to you in a moment. You guys, wasn't that amazing? For all of you who are parents like myself who have children that falls in the special needs, or I like to say learning differences category, this is something that's very, very beneficial for you. I encourage all of you, even if you don't have a child that has learning differences or an adult relative or friend that falls into that category, I still encourage you to go get this book, because this is a time for us to absorb information in order to better be able to understand each other so that we can work together and be proficient, and keep in mind how other people feel at the end of the day. Being a mother of a child that has autism, I know all too well the stigma. I know all too well the words, the looks, the points. But listen, remember, they're human beings too, and certain things can hurt. This is a time of the year. This is the time for us to heal. This is a time for us to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, to understand it and see things through the lenses of their eyes, so that we can make this world a better place. With all that being said, if no one told you this today, I want you to know that the Tina Ramsey Show and Podcast, we got your back, and I want you to keep smiling, and I want you to know that we love you. Even if nobody else told you that, we love you, and that's why we do what we do. Check out the Homeschooling Interactive magazine, which we dig deeper into special needs, learning differences, and homeschooling, and also just education in general. That magazine is more than just about homeschooling. It's about the whole experience and family. On that note, make sure to check out her book. Again, go pick it up from Amazon. And thank you so much for tuning in on today. I will see you guys next week. Bye. CTR Media Network has amazing opportunities to expand the visibility of business owners, entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, and podcasters on our platform. Would you like to be interviewed on any of our podcasting shows? Where we're booking right now, so go to ctrmedianetwork.com. Would you like to have an ad in our upcoming Podcast Revolution magazine? Well, simply go to our website and place your ad today. We also have commercial placement opportunities. We would love to play your commercial during the airing of our CTR Media Network Live and the Tina Ramsey Show. We would love to partner with you. If you feel that your business is a right fit, contact us about our sponsorship opportunities. CTR Media Network has a variety of different opportunities to fit every budget. So reach out to us by going to ctrmedianetwork.com and book the appropriate ad for yourself today.
CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are. The Media Network, that's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network.